Okay, welcome back. Still with our guests, a couple of experts. Professor of Accounting Emeritus Canon Benjamin Osisioma of the formerly of Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Awka, as well as Dr. Kayode Fashua, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Association of National Accountants of Nigeria. He's also the immediate past DG, Director General of the Nigerian College of Accounting. We have so many illustrious, accounting firms in Nigeria. I don't know, just off the top of my head now, I think one thinks of Akintola and Akintola, those kind of things, and you must know them off the fingers of your hand. So clearly there are those accountants that you just know that the very best in global practices is what they are, what they are working with. Sometimes you find public, sometimes you find public, the public space also contracting them to come in and work for them. So I didn't want, because of the things we discussed this morning, I didn't want the impression to go out that the profession is almost in the dumps. It's not. Far from it. Maybe we can recount some of those stories where, thank God for an accountant.
No, there's no doubt about that accountants are builders. They build economies, they build nations. Because in the end, people don't only talk about the failures, they don't talk about the success stories. That you hear that you talk about the G20, that where you have strong governance structure. Without the accounting function, that strong governance structure will not work. So the accountant is a critical factor in the success story of any nation. But what we are saying is that the accountant is not a magician. There's Arthur Andersen, one of the best firms globally. And the Arthur Andersen was so highly prized. It went for first-class graduates from the universities and built them into professionals. But when it crashed, it was we depend on the sanction or approval of the market. If the market says we are not satisfied, you are in trouble. And it could be a single error. It could trigger off a financial crisis. But all the work the accountant does, we must not forget that. They lay the building blocks. They enable us to operate and return a profit. They will tell us whether we are doing well. When when you started, look at how you started. Look at where you are now. And encouraging you to go further. That's the accountant. So there's no doubt about that. The accountant is a very important. But what we are doing at this session is to highlight where we could do even better.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. Dr. Fashua, I'm sure you will also agree with that position, because I was just saying that it's a very difficult, maybe it's only difficult because some of us are not that good with figures and mathematics and all sorts. I understand that taxation is hell for those who are taking the exam. For those who are taking
it's the most interesting area of accounting as far as I'm concerned.
There's a combination of law and
so there's all of that. But as Prof has said, the role is one for building, actually, but it's all about the best practices that need to be adopted. We were speaking at the opposite extreme when we said that there might be very, very senior management people who are more senior than the accountants, who can, stymie their work, block their work, but I imagine those cases are really exceptions rather than the rule. That is not to say that there are not accountants in jail for fraud. Let it be said. Just like there are doctors in jail for fraud, and there are lawyers in jail for fraud, engineers in jail for fraud. So even the ones that, I can't think of a judge in jail for fraud. No. But you see, the point with what I just said was to bring up that the public has such a standard perception of the moral standard of such people. By and large, would you say the councils, they ensure that there's a code of conduct, a code of behavior that an accountant is expected to, comply with? Because members of the public can go to other councils in other professions when they feel that some wrong has been done. I'm going to report you to your council so that they'll investigate it. We have things like that for the accountants as well?
Yeah, of course. One of the major code of ethics for the accountant is integrity. Talks about honesty, talks about confidentiality, talks about duty of care and skill. So those kind of conducts are there. And professional accountants actually abide by those kind of conducts in carrying out their duty, just like the president said. For instance, accounting is so important that without accounting, there will be no governance. As a matter, without accounting, if you don't have good accountant, for instance, in Lagos State, for instance, the economy of Lagos State will crash, or any state, or even the entire country.
Because we won't know where we are. How well are we doing?
Exactly. You won't know what is in and how things are going out. You need an accountant to be able to carry out government plans and policies and programs. You need an accountant to be able to do all those things. For instance, the government is carrying out, at the beginning of every year, a budget must have been approved. How is that budget being prepared without the accountants? Without the budget, even the private sector players depend on the budget. Because, of course, you may say that the budget is not for them, but the budget is for the nation. The accountants prepare that. And he carries this out through his ethical conduct, confidentiality, integrity, honesty, due care and skill. And at the end of the day, he is delivering and contributing to nation building, ultimately.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much.
Can I just add one thing?
Yes, please.
You see, the idea of accounting, behind it is the issue of accountability. Okay. So, giving an account of the resources you are, in your care. Being made to answer for your performance. It appears in everywhere, even in church, even in the mosque, where the pastor, the imam, you are invested with authority and power. How do you use it? Accountability. There's no money there, but there's an element of accountability that comes in, and that is what the accountant stands for. We make you, earn your keep. Okay. Why are you here? Are you meeting the purpose for which you have been put in place?
Thank you very much, Professor Canon Benjamin Osisioma and Dr. Kayode Bashua. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for giving us this brief insight into, the function of accounting, accountancy, and accountability.
Thank you very much.
All of them, starting with ACC. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been very enlightening. Thank you very much for coming. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition at 11 o'clock, God willing. Bye-bye for now.